Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. So today I want to talk about the self-discovery tools that I have used for self-awareness and to understand my life path, why I'm here, and just to overall just get to know myself from a personal development perspective. So as always, I'm into woo in general, and three of these tools are more on the woo side of things, and then one is a little bit more mainstream. So I'm going to get into really quick human design, Western astrology, numerology, and Myers-Briggs personality types. All right, so of course I have to talk about human design because I am a human design reader. I don't think it's the end all be all. I think it's a piece of the pie and can give you a lot of information about yourself. So if you think of yourself as a pie, there's all these different tools that we can use to get to know ourselves, to understand ourselves better. And I do believe human design is one of those tools. And so human design is essentially this system that was created, and it's a hybrid, or it synthesizes the different elements from Western astrology, Kabbalah tree of life, the chakra system, and the Chinese I Ching. And human design is really about energy type. Like, what energy are you working with? How is your energy designed to work? And there are 5 different energy types in human design. They are generators, manifestors, manifesting generators, projectors, and reflectors. And because human design is astrology adjacent, what happens is that you will take your birth information, so your birth time, your birth location, your birth date, you will put it into a calculator and you will get a human design chart. And this body graph chart essentially tells you your energy type, but it also tells you how you're designed to attract things that you want in life, to attract the things that are meant for you in life. It also tells you the most important thing, which is how to make decisions, how your intuition actually speaks to you. Human design can also get into some fun stuff like life path, life purpose. It can get into your ideal digestion, your ideal environment. There's so many layers to human design chart. But really what we all just really need to know at the end of the day is our energy type. And so if you are interested in discovering your human design, I have a link below. And I recommend going to myhumandesign.com and getting your chart there for free. And if you're interested in knowing more about human design, just subscribe to my channel or check out the other videos that I have, because I do have a lot of videos around human design. Before I move on to Western astrology, though, I just want to offer how human design has actually personally helped me in my own life. The biggest thing that it has helped me with is to start getting rid of the external voices that are telling me how to do things. I don't know about you, but I often will take courses or see coaches or watch videos of coaches, or, I'm listening to all kinds of information and I'm taking it all in. And I start shoulding myself a lot. I start saying, well, I should be doing this and I should be doing that. And I start getting very logical about things that I should really be listening to my own inner voice, my own inner wisdom about. And so human design and learning my human design has really helped me understand when I'm trying to operate from a place of listening to all the outside voices telling me to do things a certain way, and instead tuning in to my own inner voice and honoring it as best as I can. And I will say that I feel more in alignment today than I did like 5 years ago. All right, Western astrology. So we're all really familiar with Western astrology, I'm sure. Western astrology is astrologers will take your birth details, so your birth location, birth time, all of that good stuff. You will put it into a calculator and you will get something called a natal chart. And this shows the astrologer where all these planetary or celestial influences were at the time of your birth. And it's the placement of these celestial bodies that really gives the astrologer a lot of information about your strengths, your weaknesses, the challenges you might have, your life path, like what sort of journey are you on. And so if you're interested in pulling your natal chart, I highly recommend going to astrochart.com or cafeastrology.com. So personally, I'm not an astrologer. I know enough to be dangerous, but I have personally had 2 natal chart readings And I've also had a synergy reading with my husband, and where we sat with an astrologer and he went through our charts side by side. I will include below in this YouTube video the astrologers that I recommend. But I will tell you, the biggest takeaways for me as far as really understanding myself and bringing self-awareness, number one was understanding my North Node. When I understood my North Node, and your North Node is like, what direction are you supposed to go in this lifetime? Like when you're pushing yourself outside of your comfort zone, that's your North Node. And understanding the characteristics or that feeling of your North Node and the direction you're supposed to be going and how uncomfortable that feels, it can be super helpful. That has been very validating for me, and it's been very motivating for me having that information. And then in the synergy reading that I had with my husband, it was pretty eye-opening, and it was crazy because when the astrologer did our reading, he said something like, well, something like my moon was sitting on his sun or something like that. And it made so much sense when he explained what was happening, because there was an aspect of our dynamic where I felt like I was crushing his, I don't want to say spirit, but like there was something about our dynamic where I feel like I don't want to speak for him, but my husband like wasn't really able to express himself. And one of my aspects of the chart was sitting on another aspect of his chart. And so it was kind of hilarious. And it really helped us understand what might be going on there. And I would say that synergy reading was super helpful in us moving forward as far as like communication's concerned, extending each other more grace, and really just understanding each other at a deeper level. All right, so next I want to talk about numerology. Again, I'm not a numerologist, know enough to be dangerous, but I found this is super helpful in my journey. So numerology essentially is the science of numbers. Each number, so numbers 1 through 9 and then 11, 22 have a specific vibration or energy. And when we are in the energy of a specific number, it can show up in our life in different ways. So numerology can tell us things about our purpose in life, our karmic path, lessons that we're here to encounter as we move through life. It can even tell you if the address that you're living at, like if you run a numerology report on your address of your home, it means that your home almost has this certain energy, right? I've never done that, but I know that it can be done. And so this is a really old system. Numerology's been around for a while. So back in 2019, I got a numerology report done, and I sat down with a numerologist. And the biggest takeaway for me that was really eye-opening and validating, and honestly, it's still validating, because I pulled up this report 2 days ago when I was preparing for this video, and I was like, oh my gosh, I forgot that it said that. I will tell you the life path number was particularly impactful, and totally recommend Googling more videos about the life path number. But for me, it said in the report that I am here to be a contemplative truth seeker who is here to uncover secrets of the universe and find a spiritual path. And this may sound very general to some people. This may sound very maybe boring or not specific to other people, but for me, it's very validating, because sometimes I wonder why I'm so drawn to woo, why I'm so drawn to spiritual things, tarot cards, human design, like all the things, magic. I wonder why because I have skills in project management in the corporate world. I have skills in medical education in the corporate world. And I'm always wondering, why am I so drawn to creating content and doing things and exploring these more magic woo things versus staying safe with the mainstream topics that aren't going to, have people sending me crappy comments or anything like that, or being judgmental of the things that I have to say, or judgmental of my passions in general. And so this is very validating information. Just the fact that I am here to be a seeker, and not only just a seeker, but a seeker in a spiritual way. And I always have to come back to this and remember, this is what I'm here to do, even if I sometimes feel like I'm leaving myself open to criticism by pursuing my passion. Oh, and I do have a numerology book that I really recommend, and I will put that in the notes below. All right, so next I want to talk about the Myers-Briggs personality type. So this is pretty mainstream. I think there are a lot of companies that even use this. So back when I was a college student and I was studying psychology, I took personality psych class. This is when I learned about Myers-Briggs, and I love personality typing. I know there are people who hate it. There are people who don't like to be put into a box. They think that these things are very general and it doesn't resonate with them, and that's totally okay. But for me, when I learned my type and I learned how the system worked, so basically Myers-Briggs is you take a test, and I will include the link below to take a free test, and it identifies like what are your preferences, what are your behavior patterns, what are your cognitive processes, right? And so are you more extroverted, are you more introverted? And what I love about Myers-Briggs is it's a continuum. So it doesn't mean that if you come back as an E, for example, being extroverted, it doesn't mean you're extroverted all the time. You're on a continuum. So your test may fall, you may be like way extroverted on one side of that chart, or you might be a little bit in the middle where sometimes you're a little more extroverted, sometimes you're a little more introverted, right? And so Myers-Briggs allows for this continuum. Generally speaking, you have a preference, but you're on that continuum. And for me, this has been a very powerful tool. Like I said, I've been using it since college. It helped me understand myself so much more. I felt completely validated. I'm an INTJ, so I tend to be super logical, and I tend to be a planner about things, and I tend to be a very strategic thinker, and I had trouble even getting out of the logic. And so it helps me understand other people in my life. So for example, my husband is not a planner, and in fact his letters are almost opposite of mine, and so he's completely different and he operates a completely different way. And so it's something that I can now understand and not expect from him, not expect him to be a planner, not expect him to do things the way that I do things, right? And so it's just been so helpful to me. My mom's the same way. When I was younger, I finally started to understand when I knew her personality type and that her preference was to not make plans. She feels confined if there's a plan in place, like there's no flexibility. And for me, I feel free if there's a plan, if I know what's happening next, right? And so it just really helps understand other people in our life, and it really helps understand ourselves. I do have a book that I really recommend. It's fantastic, and I will put that book in the description below. The descriptions for the energy types are freaking amazing. All right, so that's all I wanted to cover today. These are just the tools that I've found useful, that have given me insights into myself, especially if you're on a self-awareness or personal development journey.